Hello and welcome to today is a special day as chess connects us. We are back with Judit Polgar'S Global Chess Festival. Super excited to bring you all the action from the Hungarian National Gallery. It's happening live there, and we've got Fiona here with us, who's going to be bringing us all the live on-site stuff. Fiona, awesome to see you. First off, how does it feel to be there?
Tanya, it's such a pleasure being here in beautiful Budapest to be bringing you guys the stream. I apologize in advance. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of noise, but we will be doing our best. It's been such a fun event already. It started at 10 a.m. this morning, so it's been running for over 4 hours at this point. You've been here for the festival. You know what a fun event it is. Thousands of people attend throughout the day. There are so many programs, so many activities. But I think this one that we are about to cover, and there's some stuff happening on the loudspeakers. We're not screaming. It's the festival. Tanya, let's talk about the 6 communities that will be playing.
I love it. I absolutely love it, Fiona, because like you said, all the sound, all the ambience, it's making us feel like we are right there in Budapest with you. So keep that coming. And these are the 6 communities. And now this is the main highlight event, right? Like you said, this is the 11th edition of the Judit Polgar Global Chess Festival. It's gone online, it's local, it's massive, and it's all about transcending all boundaries of art, sports, science, education, bringing it together with chess. And the big event is Judit versus the communities. And these are the ones. Tell us who's on site there, and have you managed to meet any?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll be able to bring you content throughout the next few hours. I've talked to Anna Rudolph, I've talked to Matt Thomas, I talked to Divas. I hope you can still hear me. It's cutting in and out for me, but Judith is here. Hands are being shaken right now. She's shaking hands with the Hungarian team, and I think the gates are about to get underway.
And there we have in front of us the Queen of Chess herself, taking on the 6 communities. Chessable Improvers is the one with the top 3 improvers on Chessable. There's Anna Rudolph right there. She's ready to go. I mean, it's going to be awesome because all these players have got their own fans, their own communities who will be suggesting the moves played against Judith. So truly just transcending all geographical boundaries as well there. And I also spot Fiona, a former chess boxing world champion in there.
Absolutely. Matt Thomas, yeah, who's about to shake hands here with Judith. I did a quick interview with him. He's so excited to be here, to be playing against Judith. And he's posing, but he's full of confidence, fresh off a successful world championship in Serbia. And, we see there in the corner Divas, international master David Martinez. He actually said before the Simul, he's quite nervous actually to be playing Judith. There was Judith waving to the camera. Honestly, Tanya, it's so crazy to see what's happening on site. There's so many people around. It's just, I know the quality of my stream and my sound is not the best right now, but on site for the people who are here, it's a fantastic experience.
It looks amazing. And I'm so jealous that you're there. And I love that I can be here to call the action with you, Fiona. It was awesome to see Judith on camera as well, waving to us. And I think first moves are being played. I was there on site in 2023. 24, we had the Olympiad, Budapest Olympiad, when the Global Chess Festival was happening. So I wasn't able to make it that here. But to see it all to come together one more time as Judith, she's rushing past the boards. We've got action on, our bird's eye view right there. Judith Polgar versus the Chessable Improvers, the chess boxing community, the Spanish community, Anna Rudolph as well, the Hungarian stars, and then the chess is for everyone community. And across the board, Judith starts with her favorite first move, Fiona. No surprises there. It's the King's Pawn opening.
It is the King's Pawn opening. I mean, Judith, she is one of the most aggressive players out there. she was telling me yesterday, I hope I'm not giving away a secret, but she was telling me she actually played a warm-up game at home against her sister Susan to get ready for the Simul. They played a couple of games. So hopefully when Judith joins later on, you can maybe ask her about that. But she is taking it seriously. And let's remember this a clock Simul. Do you want to remind us what the time control is for this one?
Let's do it. Let's quickly do a run through of the format that we've got for this one, as Judith will have more time than her opponents that she starts with. She'll be walking around, making her move. And there we see against 6 boards is what Judith will be playing. She's got 1 hour, 50 minutes on the clock. And every time she makes a move, presses the clock, she gets an additional 10 seconds, while each of the communities starts with 50 minutes and the 10-second bonus. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I love what you just told us, that Judith's taking this pretty seriously. She got some practice in as well, because we all know that, all chess players, and most of all Judith, just how competitive she is, and she wants to win. It is about having fun. It is about celebrating chess. But I think everyone here wants to get that win in.
Let's make some predictions. Actually, I'm going to open the chat in a second because I know I have you, Tanya, but I would love to hear from our viewers as well. Do you guys think that anyone can get half a point off of Judith, or maybe even a full point? What are people's predictions? What is your prediction, Tanya?
Oh, that's a good one. And we will bring up our chat on YouTube and on Twitch to tell us what they feel. And while they do that, I think it's going to be really interesting to see, because there is such a mix going on right here, right? We've got the Chessable Improvers, and that's our top left board, and looks pretty even right now, both the knights at the center of the board. Now, these are 3 players who've spent a lot of time working on chess over the last 1 month. So they're coming together, the 3 of them. This is going to be a fun board to watch, because it's clear they're getting the practice in. Right now, pretty level there. I think all boards across, I do see that White's doing well. It's interesting that we don't have super symmetrical positions just yet, except on that top left board. And of course, also right next to that, chess boxing, Matt Thomas there, the voice of chess boxing, a former world champion at that as well. He starts with the Italian. And the answer to your question, Fiona, I think Judith gets them all, as she usually does.
I think so. I think Judith, as lovely as she is as a person on the chessboard, she is a killer. I think there will be no mercy. I see her zooming past me at quite the quick pace, although she is pausing now in the game against the chess boxing community. That Italian game you mentioned, where Matt has just played knight takes e4. Shall we take a quick look at that?
Let's bring that up as the first board we jump to. And Fiona, I'm really glad you picked that one, because it's definitely the most fun board. So pawn has been picked up at the center. And let's just do a quick rewind to see how we got there. It did start with Judith's favorite move, 1e4, best by test. We know Bobby Fischer. He spent some time in Judith Polgar'S home, and usually influenced by him as well, is the one who said best by test. So sticking to that as well, 1e4. I think that's the move that she's played most of her career, known, like you said, for her aggressive attacking style. It's been the opening of choice by Judith in this simul as well. And we see the king's pawn opening here. The knight comes out. And very interestingly, Matt's community chooses the bishop before knight. Is that a surprise for you? A question mark? But I think we can ignore it, because, Fiona, it quickly transposes to, what we've come to see after shot castle. Now, this is where things get fun. It would have been all normal had black gone d6, had black chosen to go castle. We'd have the normal Italian game. But this is playing with fire, and that usually doesn't end well when you're playing against Judith. Knight takes pawn at the center of the board, and Judith strikes with d4.
I mean, it's a very, very risky choice to capture that central pawn before you get your king into safety. That king still on e8 in the middle of the board. So, in fact, not a conventional Italian game as we thought at first. And I think the chess boxing community is playing with fire here early doors. I mean, d4. How do you even recapture it? I'd be very, very afraid to take with the pawn and opening that e line. But the alternatives don't look that great either.
I think they're really bringing in the style. It feels like a chess boxing game, this one already. But I think it's going to be Judith who gets the first punch in. It might already be in on the board. I'm sure she's loving her position. Like you said, any piece that captures on d4 after a trade, the rook slides over, and there are big questions to be answered with a knight lined up against the king. And if instead you were to fall back with the bishop, I'm just going to go back one move. Any move with the bishop would have resulted in a very strong pawn at the center of the board. Instead, the chess boxing community with Matt is going all out, punch for punch, d5 on the board. Pawn takes bishop will be met by a capture in return. What do you make of this choice? Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think both players here are living up to their reputations, Judith with the king's pawn opening, going for an aggressive opening, but the chess boxing community clearly out for a fight. I see Matt talking to his stream, getting some input from his chess boxing community. So we'll see how this one evolves. Shall we go back to the bird's eye view, Tanya, and see what's happening elsewhere?
Let's do it. And I'll tell you one thing about Matt. I met him at the freestyle event in Vegas. He doesn't shy away. I think he's going to try to get his community. The creator creates that community. I think they're going to channel his style of play. I don't think he's going to be afraid. He's going to take the challenge head on, which is why we see a move like d5 at the center of the board. That's the top center board right there, the move that's been played. Expecting some bishop trades on that, and then Judith just dodging the queen trade on the open D line that it would result in. We've got our 6 colors in front of us, our 6 communities in front of us. Fiona, what catches your attention?
One thing that catches my attention is Judith against the Hungarian stars, where h4 has just appeared on the board. I see the kings have castle in on opposite sides, so that's always exciting. The community of the Hungarian stars is the only one represented as a community here on site. And it's such a beautiful site that's on the right-hand side of your camera on the screen. We see 2 very young players, 8 and 10 years old, as well as some older gentlemen. So that's a lovely mix. Tanya, should we go there?
We should, but I just want to take what we're seeing in. You see Judith, she's in front of Matt right now, so on the chess boxing board, but I think the board you were talking about right opposite that, leading the Hungarian stars, it's Professor Vizi, and he's 88 years old. He's a neuroscientist, a former president of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. He's an icon in Hungary, and like you said, along with Professor Vizi, we've got 2 youngsters, the 10-year-old Norbert Nagy and the 8-year-old Iliango as well playing. And these are 2 rising stars of Hungary talent there. I just want to point out, and I think we should mention this, that Norbert, he's been crushing his national championships in his age group, undefeated over last 3 years of the national finals. He scored 23 wins. I think for him, this is such a huge opportunity. Like you said, the Hungarian stars, it's a mixed field from different walks of life, different icons and different talents and prodigies come together. And Judith's just about to get to that board. She walks past as they just respond with the H-pawn moving forward as well, stopping Judith's advance H5. Should we do a quick action replay?
Let's do a quick action replay, see how we got here. But I like that they are stopping the onslaught. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see how we got here.
It started with the Sicilian defense, an open position very, very early on. And I will tell you one thing. I think Judith loves it whenever she's able to get these open Sicilians, which sort of invite these opposite side castling, a knight off on the board right now. And Judith obviously going for the most aggressive setup. I don't know how many times we've seen these classics played by Judith in these openings against the knight off, against the likes of even Garry Kasparov. And now once the central pawn is defended, White develops the queen, and Judith quickly rushes the king to the other side of the board, looking at an onslaught coming with a pawn storm on the right flank here, Fiona.
And bishop h6 was just played. And I mean, if we look at the eval bar, The eval bar is not liking the Hungarian team's chances right now. Tanya, can you maybe say a few words about why you think this position is so bad for Black?
This is going to get really interesting because Judith has a huge opportunity if she plays the move e5 and there are tactics across the board. And the queen of tactics is Judith Polgar. Will she find this move e5? And it all relies around the idea of the rook and the queen lined up against the black queen. Let's just show that line really quickly. Pawn takes pawn would run into a big check on f5. You give up material to only win it back with interest. After the trade and the dust settles, Judith Polgar will be completely winning. The big question right now on this board, does she find the move e5? As she's rushing past, she takes a pause. Fiona, that's exactly where she is. Let's bring up our live board really quickly. Is she about to play e5?
I have my eyes set on Judith. She's actually talking to her opponents right now. I don't know what they are talking about, but they are literally talking to each other. And Judith, as soon as she got to that board, she stopped immediately sensing there might be something there. There is an animated discussion going on. I wish I could hear, well, she hasn't made a move.
She sees it, she feels it, and she knows it.
Maybe she's telling them, look, guys, you want to take back your last move? This is not looking good for you now because I can go e5. I'm very curious.
We're getting some quick camera work there, and I think that's exactly what's happening. She's saying, I'm just going to open the position with e5. This is a mistake. Do you want? And I'm knowing Judith, she's probably offering a take back right now.
Her clock is running,
I think
though.
she's about to play it. But the thing is, if she plays this move, it's pretty much game over. This board could be the first to finish.
The discussion is still going. Judith right now not looking at the board, but just chatting to her opponents. She might realize that after this one might come to a quick end, but let's wait for her move. What is happening?
So not only has Judith seen e5, she's pretty much calculated it all the way through, apart from playing 6 boards. She's now explaining to her opponents why it's bad. This is my best guess of what's happening, and showing them the line that we just had on the board as well. She still hasn't made her move, though.
But I think she's pointing at the e5 square, though, and she just made an arm gesture saying that e-file is going to be blown wide open. The D file, sorry, excuse me. And well, she clearly has seen e5, and here it goes. e5 is on the board.
It has been played, and of course it's been played. It is Judith Polgar. She immediately spotted it while she was on the board. She was telling them the whole line. You could see it from her hand action about opening up the D file, the big threat of pawn takes pawn, running into the check with the knight moving forward, and then the black queen falling. And the whole problem is, you're not forced to take the pawn on e5, but how long can you let it stay alive? Once the black knight falls back, Judith's not going to stop. She's going to continue marching her pawns all the way up, trying to break open the king side. A huge, classic, vintage Judith Polgar attack coming up against the Hungarian stars. By the biggest Hungarian star.
They are looking at the board right now. They don't look as happy as they did 5 minutes ago. But Tanya, let's bring back the bird's eye view and see what's happening elsewhere.
I'm loving the positions all across. If you see all the white sides, top row, bottom row, you can just see how quickly Judith's gone into the aggressive attacking mode. All the pawns are moving forward. I think the safest board, what it looks like, is against the Chessable improvers, which kind of resembles a sort of a Russian Petrov symmetrical opening. But apart from that, all across the center board, the center E line is open. The black king in the center, already the D5 pawn attack. The board next to that, against chess, is for everyone. Judith's got the H4, G4 rolling all the way up. It's not going to stop there. G5 coming in next. our bottom left board. Look at that. F5 already in, which means we've got a big break. That knight which has jumped forward is moving ahead to the D6 square as well. Some juicy outposts for Judith against the Anna Rudolph chess community. And then against the Hungarian stars, E5, of course, the star move found by Judith instantly. She barely even looked at the board. I'm pretty sure, Fiona, as she was walking around on the other boards, she already had this in her mind. She already knew that she set this up with that bishop sliding forward, the bishop trade, that E5 will arrive. And then against the Spanish community, led by Grandmaster, International Master even, David Martinez right there. A big space advantage in the center for Judith. She's crushing it so far.
She is crushing it. Maybe we can take a look at her game against Anna Rudolph and her community, which for now on the bird's eye view is the only board where the evil bar seems to be ever so slightly in black's favor. So let's dive in and see how Anna and her community are getting on. They are
now we have the
lining up.
position in front of us.
Yeah, so this is a very double-edged. You mentioned, Judith has one up her pawn on the F file, but Anna's community is looking for some counterplay on the queen side.
Huge counterplay. In fact, Judith right now is up a pawn. She has that extra pawn, but it's come at the cost of opening up a direct line to the white king. And if I just back up really quickly, it was at this move that, in fact, Anna's community decided to sacrifice a pawn. Judith was going all out on the right flank with F5. If you take the pawn, you lose a key central pawn. So that was not an option. Instead, they go on the counter offense with the B pawn moving forward, giving it up for what looks like it's free. Judith takes it. She's ready for the battle, and this is what Anna's community gets in return. The best move pointed out by our blue arrow, by our engine, played by Anna here. Rook to B8, hitting the knight, forcing it to retreat. And once it does that, the black queen will also step forward, lining up with the rook, and some big threats on Judith's king. Is she feeling the pressure on this board?
I wonder if she's feeling the pressure, because I feel this is the game where Anna's community is taking Judith's own style to her, right? They are fighting fire with fire. They are saying, Judith, we see you moving forward with that F-pawn, but we are going to go for the throat on the other side of the board. It's especially funny to see because Anna, she used to be known as Miss Strategy, right? But it looks like her community is egging her on to change her style to take on the Queen of Chess.
Like any amazing community should, right? Pushes you to your limits and to broaden your own horizons and your style of play when it comes to chess. Now, the big question here, and I think what Judith has in mind, is not to go back. Because let's be honest, we're talking about JP. JP does not go back when you can go forward. There's that post that we spoke about, the knight coming on to D6. And I'm just wondering, what does Anna's community have in mind once that queen's path to attack has been blocked? No more queen b4. The knight looks absolutely stunning on D6. And my feeling here is that, Fiona, it has to do with the idea of a central break. You want to get to F6. You want to create a complete chaos. And the thing is, when you're walking around, when you're playing 6 boards, to suddenly start answering these questions can get a bit tricky because you're targeting a huge pawn on E5 that defends the knight on D6, and the knight on D6 does not have a way back home.
I agree with you. I think it's all about trying to dislodge this knight on D6 that you were saying is such a powerful piece there, because if we are attacking, we want to bring in the queen, the most powerful piece. And should it make her move already? Judith is still thinking. She hasn't jumped into... No, the knight is on D6.
I see her walking past, and it almost feels like
board, you don't see the knight on D6 yet, right?
Not on our board yet. And we see Judith. She's right now in front of the Hungarian stars. And the board next to that is the one that we have in front of us, which is Anna's community. So once I think she's going to make her move when she gets there. And she hasn't played it yet. What do you see?
I think the knight is on D6. I see a knight in in the black camp. So I think knight e6 was played, and Anna's community has made played their response that I can't make out. I'm trying to see if an F pawn has advanced, but I'm not sure. We'll have to wait for the board to update. But for now, let's go back to the bird's eye view as the discussion between Judith and the Hungarian team is continuing.
I love that we have you there for all these inside info so that even if we've got some tech delays here and, the move's just catching up, you're telling us, it's already happened. Knight is on d6, and yet Anna's community hasn't responded with the move you're expecting. And that is our bottom left board, as Fiona informs us that Judith's knight has landed on that juicy post on d6. Will Anna continue with f6, and will we see the fireworks? Meanwhile, what on earth is going on against the Hungarian stars? Judith's going all out. She just sacrificed the piece. I think we have to head to that, Fiona.
Let's jump back into that. And in fact, I can tell you, one thing that is interesting to note here that I'm just noticing now, unlike a classical simul where you have to make a move when the opponent arrives at your board, here, since it's a clock simul, some of the players are taking their time. They are not forced to make a move when Judith comes around. So she's actually moving a lot faster, as the three boards that are on my left-hand side, the Chessable improvers, the chess boxing community, the Spanish community, they are all still thinking. So Judith is fast approaching the Hungarian stars. Let's jump back into that.
So she's also putting pressure on their clock because, as you mentioned, that the opponents, they've got only 50 minutes to start with. I mean, you need time when you're playing against Judith, but I think she wants to play on the clock as much as on the board. This one's a really fun one. I think she's on the board right now on our live camera just before this. But check this out, Fiona. Judith's last move looks incredibly intimidating and terrifying, but it's in fact a blunder. That knight to f5, I'm just gonna back up one move. We left it at e5, which was quite the shocker, I'm sure, for the Hungarian stars. And I think Judith had pointed out that if you take pawn, takes pawn, you're going to lose on the spot. This is just my speculation because we saw her analyzing the position with them. So she kind of warned them, don't grab that pawn. So instead, we saw a knight retreat. And here, instead of what we were talking about, ideas like g4 trying to break through, actually Judith did go with that. She played the best move on the board. She played g4 and a defense by rook to h8. And here, my computer points out that had Judith just taken pawn takes pawn, after rook takes pawn, there are ideas where you reroute the knight to the other side and the attack against the king is just incredibly strong. But check this out. Instead, we've got knight f5 on the board, and don't try this at home unless your name is Judith Polgar. Does this work? What is this? What is going on here?
I mean, we'll have to look at the captures. First of all, what happens? The knight just put itself on a square where it can be captured by the pawn. What happens if the Hungarian stars capture that knight with the pawn?
Well, I'm going to just mention that bishop takes knight was played here, but pawn takes knight, in fact, the Hungarian stars had to call this out. This was a bit of a bluff, but I don't even know if I can call it bluff. I think Judith, just on instincts, knew that she would have enough compensation in this position. And again, you take pawn takes pawn, and the computer doesn't even give such an advantage to black in this position. We see our eval bar. It remains pretty level after the move pawn takes pawn here. Look at black king, all out in the open. And what's even going on with the pieces? Everything's on the back rank right now. Not a single development right here. If you think you can capture the pawn on f5, well, think again, because the queen jumps forward. And once the bishop falls back, the f-pawn's rolling ahead, the e-pawn's rolling ahead, targeting this defensive weakness, and black's position just falls apart. I think Judith's instincts were on spot. Here, the computer gives a double question mark, but you sort of take that and throw it out of the window. I think from a human perspective, this move is just super crushing. It scared the opponents, the stars, so much that they grabbed the knight with the bishop instead, not allowing the G line to open up. And after this, the material balance remains, and Judith Polgar is simply winning here right now with her pawns blowing open the king side.
Absolutely. She still has the attack that we've seen ever since, she blasted open with e5. She's not down any materials, so this is looking great for her. Tanya, how about we go and check in with some of the games we haven't seen yet?
Let's do it. Let's bring up. I will also though point out that very often in these kind of position, to your point, what you just said on that center board of the bottom row right there, that sometimes when your position's bad, you just have to take the bait because you want something to show for what you're suffering. So perhaps capturing that knight with the pawn would have just been the straightforward way to sort of force Judith to show her cards, to prove her attack. But in this position, no material deficit. She's the one with the pawns forward, the G line opening up. It's all Judith's game here. So I think the Hungarian star's in big trouble. You mentioned it, Fiona. Let's check in with some of the games that we haven't already. And I think the top right board looks very spicy as well. Again, one king in the center. That's chess is for everyone. This position really is not for everyone because the black king stuck in center. Judith's king on the queen side. There's a pawn on b5 that's hanging. That looks very, very spicy. Meanwhile, the chess boxing stars right there, I think they managed to get their king with mat to safety. We see a lot of trades in the center. Looks pretty much in balance. Chessable improvers also keeping things in control. I'd say chess is for everyone looks like the most exciting board. Should we take a look at that before we head to Anna Rudolph's community, which, by the way, is taking the battle head on?
Absolutely. Let's go to the chess. Did you say chess is for everyone?
I think everyone says chess is for everyone, as it should be, Fiona.
Let's go there.
Let's check out chess is for everyone board, and there we have it, the position in front of us. I'm trying to make head or tail of what's happening, and I think we have to just go back a little bit. But just to tell us a little about this board, because as far as I understand, Fiona, the players, they're organizers, they're partners, who aim at making chess an inclusive sport across different fraternities, different spheres. Have you met anyone, and what's the vibe of that board? Any strong players there? What can you tell us about Chess is for Everyone?
Well, Chess is for Everyone here on site is represented by Kinsha who I think our chatters on Twitch will know, as she's actually a Twitch mod on the Chess.com channel. So she will be a familiar name. She's been doing some commentary herself, and the Chess is for Everyone community is, of course, as the name indicates, it's a program it's all about inclusivity. It's all about, making chess for everyone, no matter where you're from, your background, players with disabilities. So very happy to have this community here represented. And I think Kid Show is also allowed, since chess is for everyone, to discuss, as opposed to the board, which we will come to a bit later, our chessable improvers that is headed by Regina. She's not allowed to interfere. She's a very strong player herself, but she's just making the moves for them. But back to chess is for everyone, represented by Kinshotot in Budapest. And Judith is not afraid to open up her king a little bit here, Tanya.
This is amazing. This is the board with chess is for everyone. But like I said earlier, the position is really not. Because check this out. Judith is down a piece currently. She sacrificed knight f5 on the Hungarian stars board. And here she's already given up a piece. And we are on move 15. I think that's just, again, vintage Judith style. She's down a knight right now, but she's just going for the black king. The queen under attack. The knight takes pawn threat coming in. And this is where you truly see what a legend Judith is. She's retired from competitive chess for a long time, but yet her tactics, her spidey senses, her ability to take these battles, to sacrifice for long-term initiative, it's as strong as ever. And she's not trying to play it safe in the simul. She's just taking the battle head on right now. Knight b5, the queen is forced to retreat to one of the squares. If you try to get too aggressive, try and offer a trade. Of course, there's going to be no trade. Judith can jump in with her own queen capturing the pawn, which will then threaten queen takes bishop as well, just giving black no time to capture the pawn on a2. It is a crazy position, this one is. I'm just thinking here, Fiona, I think it's the whole Judith Polgar Global Chess Festival, it's from 2015. We're in its 11th edition, and it's become this massive day in the chess world where the world comes together. And I've been there live on site as well. You've got thousands of visitors. There are so many activities. There are chess educational seminars happening. You've got art combined with sports here. And this is the main highlight event, right? Where you've got Judith giving this Simul. And it really feels that with so many people across different spheres coming on, chess is for everyone. But as a professional player, sometimes you've had this feeling when games haven't gone your way that chess is really for no one. It's such a difficult game. But then you see moments like these and you realize just how chess truly connects us. You know, here I am sitting in Delhi. There you are sitting in Budapest. We're watching Judith, the greatest female player of all time in the history of game. At her peak, she was at world number 7, the only player to have broken the world top 10. And the players, I mean, the biggest names that she's taken down in her career, you know, from Vishwanathan Anand to Garry Kasparov, all her battles. And there she is. So it truly is an epic moment, and I'm getting carried away with emotions looking at it. But this position requires a lot of calculation and no emotions.
Here in Budapest as well, to see all the people that come out here to the National Gallery, that come to the festival. You know, everyone around is taking photos, trying to capture the highlights of the Simul. I love watching Judith discussing her game with her Hungarian opponents. I mean, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are 80 years between her youngest and oldest opponent on that board, which where you don't get that in any other sport. So it truly is a very special feeling. And I mean, Davis has commented on all the greatest tournaments in the world. He's been to so many events. He said, I'm really nervous for this game. You know, playing Judith is something really special. So I think everyone here on site feels what you are talking about. You know, this is a special event organized by a very special player and person.
It truly is. By the way, meanwhile, we do have a move by the Chess is for Everyone community where they did go for the idea that we were mentioning earlier, offering the queen trade. And of course, you know, when you're down material, you don't trade pieces, expecting Judith to simply slide her queen up, take the pawn, threaten the bishop on d7. And things are getting very tricky here for black because there's really no good way to defend your piece. And I'm going to throw this to chat. I'm sure they're super quick. I see 2 moves. You could slide your rook over to d8, or you could go back with your bishop to c8. But there are huge problems with this move. Let's see if our chat can figure out if they can be as tactically strong as we expect them to be at a Judith Polgar event.
I can barely hear you. I can barely hear you any longer. I think I might be having some connection issues. But the good news is, very soon I'll change my commentator's hat for interviewer, and I'll be bringing you some content here from the communities. Get their thoughts on the game, as very soon we'll have a change of guard here. So sorry, Tanya, I could not hear you at all, so I'll let you take it away for a minute.
I mean, we're at a festival, right? You are there, and I can totally imagine there must be so much going on, and we can hear all the excitement at the back, so many people as well, Fiona. So no problem with that. But we're looking forward to all the interviews that you bring on with us as Fee tries to figure it all out. Chad, I wonder if you guys have figured out what happens if black was to retreat with the bishop to c8 or just simply try to defend that bishop with rook to d8. I don't think either of these 2 moves are possible. And I've got the chat open in front of me. And I see that you guys do see the idea, the big idea that if bishop moves back or the rook slides over, the white knight jumps in. And unfortunately, the king would have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and black would be forced to give up huge material. So in fact, chess is for everyone, but that bishop after queen takes pawn would be for no one in this position. I'm sure Judith Polgar is loving what's going on with white here.
Once again, Tanya, my apologies. I'm struggling to pick up a single word now, but it looks like this is looking great for Judith on this board. As she's moving around faster and faster.
No problem, Fiona. Huge moment here, by the way. If chess is for everyone has to survive, our blue arrow points out that the only way to defend that bishop is to block your king even more. A knight retreating move, a really hard human move to play. Process of elimination might be the only way to get there, knight to f8 would still keep the game going. And look at that. Judith sacrificed a piece. And I'm going to show you really quickly which moment that happened and how she just crashed through and how difficult it is to face these kind of sacrifices when you're playing against Judith. Again, we had the Sicilian. Fiona, the takeaway of the day here is just don't play the Sicilian against Judith. Just don't do that. That's where everything goes wrong. And of course, g4 up the board doesn't stop there. h4 up the board. You know, it's a festival. Judith's having fun chat. Bishop comes out. But are you strong enough to go castle? With g5 coming on, first black tries to stop it. The knight goes back. Queen moves forward. And I can already see the brewing of a sacrifice right now after the last move. Long castle. The queen comes forward. And look at that. Once the rook and the queen beautifully lined up, this is what Judith was setting, just bringing that knight forward, hitting the queen, giving up the knight, but to get to the black king. And after this, it's so difficult for black. The only move to stay in the game was retreated to, well, a really ugly looking square, not played understandably, queen a5, and things start collapsing. Queen takes pawn, obviously on the board, and now knight f8, the only move.
Tanya, I don't know if you can, please give me a sign if you can still hear me, because I unfortunately wasn't. I'm glad you can hear me. To the community, I'm so sorry. But as I said, very, very soon, I think I'll be making my goodbyes here. I just want to say to you, Tanya, it's been a pleasure being here with you, even if we had some difficulties. The day is not over here in Budapest. Hopefully, very soon I'll be able to bring you guys some insights from the players heading their communities. How do they feel about their games? We're certainly being treated to some spectacular stuff. I like that Judith is holding nothing back today. She is true to her style, and it's a joy to see it. So Tanya, I'm gonna sign out here from Budapest, but I'll be back on the show with some content here from the community. And to you and to our next commentator, have a lot of fun. And of course, to our viewers, thank you for watching. And I'm signing out here from Budapest.
Thank you so much, Fiona, for joining us and bringing on the energy that's happening there at the Hungarian National Gallery. Awesome to have you with us. Tell us all the tidbits about stuff, and we'll be keeping our eyes out for all the content that you're going to be sending our way live on ground there. It's going to be fun as games are heating up. As Fiona said, Judith Polgar's sticking to her style. She sacrificed the piece not on one but on two boards and is crushing and crashing through. We're going to quickly bring up our bird's eye view before we take our first break, and we will come back with all the action and the cliffhangers as Judith continues to sacrifice pieces. We'll be right back, signing off to Fiona right now. Bye, Fiona. Have a great day, and we're waiting for you to join us again whenever you have a moment. Chat, we'll be right back with all the action from Budapest.
Tell us, how is it going so far? Oh, I'm enjoying it a lot, to tell you the truth. Playing with my teammate, with Peter Raj, the invisible chess game, also trying out the Rubik chess. So it was really fun. And now we are coming to the highlight.
Now we are coming to the highlight. We're in the middle of where the action is happening. We can see some of our players behind us already. The community Simul. You will be taking on 6 communities. Tell us a little bit about the event and the teams.
Well, the idea is to play against several communities at the same time. So 6 people or more people are representing here their own community, and the communities are making separate stream themselves so they can talk about it, discuss what to play. So I want to bring in more and more people in the same time. So this is the main idea, and we are going to have the boxing community, one of that. We're going to have the Spanish language community. Anna Rudolph, my friend, she has over 200K community. The chess is for everyone, obviously. And we have the Hungarian community also, where we're going to have the interesting VIP celebrities, but not only older generation, Professor, for example, Sylvester Rizzi, but also an 8-year-old little girl, because chess is for everyone. And no age, no gender, nothing counts, only the spirit of chess.
Speaking of the spirit, what is your spirit for this event? Is it a fun Simul, or do you want to win every game?
Oh, simultaneous exhibition is always about having fun and gathering together. This is a little bit different because it's a clock simul, so it's not like I'm going after each board, but I have this that, oh, it's my time is ticking, then I have to make a move. Still, the main purpose is to gather together here in the Hungarian National Gallery and online everywhere with everyone, and to enjoy and have fun.
Well, Judith, we will let you go get ready for the Simul. Of course, the event will be streamed as well, so people can catch you commentating live at some point on the stream. So make sure to tune into that.
We are back live from Budapest. It is JUDIT Polgar'S Global Chess Festival. And chat, you've been asking, where's Levy? Where's Levy? Where's Levy? Well, here he is. You know, your wishes are command. Levy, Gotham Chess, he's joining us right now. Levy, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I was asked if I would consider waking up for the festival at like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. I said I love chess, but I don't love chess to that extent. But I got that extra hour of sleep, Tanya. Now I have plenty of energy, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Judith absolutely demolishes all of her opponents today.
You're going to love what she's been doing because you've already had like 2 night sacrifices. But before we get to that action, I have to ask you, you said about getting energy and all of that. I mean, that's a great setup you have there. Is that a cover, a New in Chess magazine with you on the cover right behind you, Levy?
Yeah, it was supposed to be framed all nicely. And just like a good chess player, I'm procrastinating. So I haven't bought a frame. I just kind of like left it up there. Yeah, I like to make my office kind of the decoration of all sorts of different things. I have like random things that people have given me over time. Somebody 3D printed me a golden rook. I don't know if it's even visible.
Oh,
It's not. It's slightly off camera, but there it is. It's a 3D printed
there it
golden
is.
rook. So yeah, it's fun. It's like a little Hall of Fame of little artifacts.
Honestly, I feel like a real loser right now with nothing at the back wall that I've got. And you got your 100K YouTube button. You got your 1 million K, not 1 million K, but 1 million, 1 million K one day maybe. 1 million YouTube button there. You've got yourself on the cover. Some cool Batman stuff going on as well. All the 3D stuff, the trophies. Very cool wall, Levy. And there's some cool stuff that you're up to right now. Some big news about to happen right here, right now, as Gotham Chess versus the rest of the world starts. Tell us about the event. And Levy, are you ready to make your first move?
I am ready to make my first move. I have to tell you, they brought me this idea. They said, "Hey, do you want to play the world?" I said no, because I'm gonna lose. And then they said, "Hey, no, maybe you won't. Even Magnus managed to get a draw." And I was like, I can't believe you're putting us in the same sentence. And then, Tanya, I just thought look, like Kasparov, Anand, Magnus, and then me. And it's like that clown meme, the guys like all in the group picture, and then one of them looks like a clown. But I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's make this an opportunity to unite the people of the chess world, casual fans, hardcore fans, title players, amateurs, and let's try to get 1 million people and crash Chess.com. So we're up to like 128,000 people before the first move is made.
Wow.
So yeah, hopefully we get there, and I'll be playing my first move, I guess, in the next couple of minutes here.
That's very cool. I mean, chess does connect us. Over 128,000 people joining from across the world to play against Levy. And you guys can join into at any point during the game. You said it, Gary, Magnus, now. And I have to say, not talking chess strength, Levy, but the contribution to the game, how much you've made the sport grow as well. I think you belong right up there.
And you too, Tanya. And after me, major breaking news announcement that I just created. Tanya will be the next player. And Tanya, you got I saw you had the perfume deal recently on Instagram. You got Red Bull and stuff like that. So you're also hitting the major global brands. They're showing interest in chess. So it's super cool. And it's nice that we're able to do things in the chess world outside of just being a top 10 player. Although I am speaking to a literal Olympic gold medalist, so I feel even smaller.
But I'm there with you, man. The grandmaster dream, it's still a dream for me as well. Still feels tough.
But I think you can get there, and I'm not. We're not gonna open that. We're not gonna open that.
Yeah,
I've kind of put that aside.
It's a different kind of show, Levy. It's a different kind of show, a different broadcast completely. Okay, we've got a board in front of us, and we've got the world playing with the white side here. They've made their move, and this is, drum rolls, big moment here. Levy Rosman about to make his first move. It's Gotham Chess versus the world. But Levy, before you play your first move, what's your thought process? Have you thought about this? Are you going to roll the die like some other guy I know? What's going to happen right now?
So I'm definitely not going to roll anything because God forbid it rolls on an opening that I hardly know how to play. There is one opening that is very dear to my heart that brought me back to chess after I quit it as a teenager. I've been playing this opening for longer than probably half of the participants of this event have been alive, which is 14 years. And it is, of course, the Caro Kann defense. And what went into this thought process, Tanya, was, can you imagine the YouTube title? I beat the world with the Caro Kann. Like, it's going to be so good. So with that, my first move is pawn to c6, and I'm clicking this button.
Woohoo!
And the world's got 24 hours to respond.
24 hours, TikTok goes the clock. The big question, Levy Rosman, Caro Kann, yeah, beat the world right now with the move 1c6. It's been played. It's on you, the world. And as the clock ticks down, we've got some other clocks that are on, Levy. Now, we're here for Judith's big global chess festival. And I know Judith was also part of your world tour, well, when you were in Europe as well. She was part of the panel. I know you guys had a blast doing that. And here you are joining us for commentary on this one. This is our bird's eye view. Beautiful 6 boards. Judith's already sacrificed knights on 2 boards. One was on f5, one was on b5. What catches your attention? Initial first thoughts here.
Yeah, can I know who was the pre-Simul favorite? Like, was it the chess boxers? Because they could, it was because they might be wearing boxing gloves live, and also I think they have the best position. The Spanish commentary, Spanish community, they've got a pretty good position as well. Is Anna Rudolph chess just Anna Rudolph, like on her own, or is that like a team of people just named after Anna Rudolph?
Well, Anna's got a big community, right? And she's streaming as well. So I think her community is suggesting moves and she's playing them. She's on site, Levy. So she's the one who's making the moves, but it's really her awesome, wholesome community that decides what to be played. But they look like they're in big trouble. Like you said, It's the bottom right board that looks most dangerous for Judith right now.
I think it looks dangerous, but once she has the focus on one board, they should be in some serious trouble. I also don't know why it's that bad. I'm looking at the position, but I don't quite understand why it is so negative. Also, they have the least amount of time. I think they have 16 minutes. So what will inevitably happen is they will probably make a mistake. Tanya, have you played a lot of simuls or given a lot of, like, have you played as the person against the one, or have you played as the one a lot?
So it's interesting you asked that, because I think for me, playing a Simul was actually one of the more defining moments of my career when I decided I wanted to, become a professional player at some point. And it was when I was 9 or 10 years old. I had the chance to play a Simul against Vishy Anand. It was happening in my city, and there were 10, 12 kids who were picked up. I was the only girl, and it wasn't just kids. There were a lot of players, and it was, I think, an experience that really had a huge impact on me, just seeing Vishy walk around. Obviously got crushed, but I was the one to survive the longest, Levy Rosman. I will say that. But nonetheless got crushed. But just watching Vishy, walk around, do his thing, I was like, I want to be like that when I grow up. So it was quite an inspiring moment. Went on to give a few simuls later on. I've always enjoyed them. And I think they're pretty tricky, I remember asking some of my chess friends, what's your advice when playing a simul? And they've always said, you have to go aggressive. You have to play fast, put pressure on your opponent to respond quickly, and don't try to play strategic chess.
I think I've played small simul alone, and I've done tandem simul, and I definitely dislike tandem simul because I show up to a board, and tandem, for anybody watching, that you have teammates, and then you get back to the board and you're like, what happened? This doesn't match my style at all. And you lost all control of the game. But playing by myself is nice, yeah, and it kind of fits my style because I do play quite aggressively. The problem is you have 5 seconds to make a move sometimes, and then you miscalculate and your opponent has time to think, and, and then all of a sudden you're in a losing position.
Tell me what you think about this. The best part about playing Simul is also that people who are not from the chess world find it really cool to watch, right? Because you're handling 10 multiple boards at the same time, while you as a chess player just find it really challenging, competitive, and you're enjoying it, especially if the opposition is to your liking. But it's also, people are always so much in awe that how can you actually handle so many boards, usually with good players, and that's a fun part. But Levi, if you had to pick one player to team up with for a tandem simul, who would it be?
I mean, Judith is a pretty good candidate. Like, yeah.
Have you played against her? Have you ever played a competitive game against her?
No.
Not.
In May, we she was at one of the shows that I did in Berlin. And we played 2-on-2. We played Hand and Brain, and our teammates were like 16 and 1800. And like, she was suggesting piece moves, and this kid was just playing all the pieces to all the right squares. I was super impressed with her teammate. And then I think they lost on time. I think that's what happened. But we definitely would have lost. Is my summary of the events.
I mean, speaking of the clock situation, that might be something that might happen here. Spanish community, decent position, but really behind on the clock here, 15 minutes. What do you make of what's going on? Level material so far, Levi. Pieces also look pretty symmetrically placed. The bishops on f4 and f5. Pawn formation as well. What do you think? What's your prediction here?
Did you know why Black had an advantage? Because when I saw that Black had an advantage, I immediately was thinking of the move b5. I thought, they have to prove something, but it's apparently been given an orange question mark. So clearly do not understand enough about the game of chess. Maybe some sort of knight to b4. I don't know. Why was this is the problem with watching chess with an eval bar, as opposed to thinking for ourselves. I just thought like White's position was fine, but what did the Spanish community have to do?
It looks like a very, very healthy position, right? For actually both White and Black here. Black doesn't have any big weaknesses. I do have the help of the engine here. So I'll tell you what the best line is, because you mentioned that Black had an advantage here. Simply had to trade, get all the majors off the board. And the point was, I think, just to hold on with b5 for the right moment and not weaken it. But the question that comes to mind here is that b5 is the most natural looking move, right? You're driving the knight. And what really is the difference here is that the white knight steps back, and suddenly you don't have the time to trade everything on the d line because the bishop on f5 is hanging. So while it's still level, it just was more accurate to go rook takes rook, rook d8, get all the rooks off the board, and then just keep your pawn structure more flexible.
Yeah. Well, okay.
And try to get the rooks off the board. If White agrees, then you're the one who's got this nice open D line. Apparently, Black has a good advantage. I think it's the bishop pair. It's an open position, Levy. E5, long-term weakness. The queen's getting centralized. White having no big targets, and I think it's just a game you're happy in.
Yeah, that's the tough type of advantage. It's when you just don't do anything. You trade some rooks, and you know that in the long run, your opponent's pieces can't move very well. Would you say this is your strong suit as a player, like understanding that you don't have to rush anything, you can sort of just make small improvements to the position, or would you play b5? Would you fall?
I would be so tempted to rush with b5, but once you see a position where you've got this bishop pair and the queen coming on, I think he still wants to go for this, but I wonder if it was just more accurate simply because now you're forced to lose a tempo. I still like Black here. I'm biased towards the bishop pair. I still don't think it's so easy for White to, let's say, get a4, but maybe that's the drawback, that White suddenly has some counterplay. b5 does provoke the idea of a4. That position, Levy, everyone would enjoy, right? You get the rooks off the board, your queen's coming to the center, you have a direct weakness. So I think that's the kind of position everyone would want to play with, especially knowing that Judith perhaps doesn't love those kind of positions to be defending on.
I wonder what the Simul move is on that board. You probably play like a3 or h4 or something. Maybe we go to a position where Judith is on the verge of landing a knockout blow, which happens to be on half the boards. But maybe the Anna Rudolphs of the world. The chess is for everyone. It's for everyone, and it's especially for Judith because I feel like she's up like 7 pieces on that board. Oh, Tanya, I just noticed that Black's pieces on that board are not rooks.
No,
They are knights.
they're not.
They are knight. Oh man, that's tough. Yeah, that's okay. Never
That's
mind. I feel like going there would be kind of like bullying. No, I feel like.
But let's check in with it. It's the top right board that you're talking about right there. I'm gonna pull that up really quickly. And just a moment. We left it last here. And this is where we are, that top right board. But I'm with you, Levy. You know, for a second, I thought that bishop and knight had to be rooks, right? It had to be material balance. But as Judith has got the 2 rooks, and that, my friend, is indeed the minors on the board. So huge material advantage, not just the rooks, but also a couple of extra pawns. Judith completely crushing it on this one. I don't think there's much to analyze. Would you agree, Levy Rosman?
Yeah, I think the position is so good
that it speaks for itself.
Yeah, honestly. I was gonna say, I think you can sack twice on d7, take on b7, and play a6, king c7, a7. Like you know this famous yeah, I mean I guess in the previous move, would that have worked? Maybe you don't stop the pawn fast enough, but can you play like rook c7, knight d7, rook d7?
There's what a line, Levy.
Yeah, bishop
and you're
b7.
Completely winning.
Yeah.
You've given up your 2 rooks. You've also sacrificed the bishop, and nothing's stopping this 8 pawn anymore. That is beautiful stuff.
I remember there was a chess puzzle like that. You take the pawn, and then and then the king defends the knight, and so many people would think like, oh, you take the knight, but actually you just sneak through, and nobody can stop you. That's nice. That's nice. Judith didn't want to. She didn't want to take their soul. You know, she wanted to play methodical chess.
Yeah, it's like she's up so much material. She's focusing on the other boards. Why calculate when it's not necessary? Instead, she improves the position of her king. The knight jumps forward, and Judith's breaking through. I think if you take with the pawn, then your idea of rook takes bishop will be on the board as the knight on c6 will be undefended. But this is game over. This is busted. It's just a matter of when Black resigns. But that was very impressive, Levy. You've been working on your tactics. Now, we've been talking about Gotham Chess versus the rest of the world. You also have another very big event coming up. India versus USA.
Tanya, I'm sensing this is a loaded question. I sense that was a leading question. So before I answer, what are your thoughts on India versus USA?
I'm going to throw the ball right back at you because I'm not playing there. You're one of the players, and I just, I wonder if Sagar saw that sequence of moves that you just blitzed out with the sack, queen your pawn situation. Have you been training hard for that event? Because I know you guys extremely competitive, and I'm sure, Levy, you're taking it very seriously.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have done hours and hours of training. And I mean, listen, Tanya, here's what I will safely say. All right, I'm gonna say something really controversial right now. If Sagar Shah gives me 2 rooks versus knight and bishop in our game, I will destroy him. Okay. Unfortunately, the game has to start with equal material. So I was very good at finding this winning calculation, where Judith was already plus 100. Yeah, no, I'm excited to play with Sagar. We've played. I completely forgot we played on Samay's stream 4 years ago. I remembered this yesterday when I made the preview video, and it was a ridiculous game. And then we played a few games in a Toronto pub at the Candidates. But you know, I'm just going to throw this out there. Are the Indian players really flying from India to Dallas, Texas for one chess game? Like, that's crazy to me.
It's happening. It's happening on 4th of October, and it's just one day, and we're going to talk more, but first let's bring up the bird's eye view because some crazy stuff's going on here as well, Levy. I've got a lot of questions about that matchup you'll be playing against Sagar. It's very exciting, but a lot of exciting stuff here, and in fact, I think some games might be about to end, including the one against Anna. So I want to get your thoughts on that first, because there are 3 queens on the board. You might think one can be picked up, but there's a knight fork jumping in. That's a bottom left board. Should we head straight to that one first? And Levy, you can break it down for us.
Yes, I can break it down for everybody watching. Judith is winning by a lot, and she's threatening checkmate right now. Queen takes rook. If the rook takes the queen, it abandons the f7 square. But I actually think that's the best move, and she will be picking up the queen, and maybe she will get a smothered mate. Maybe somehow they will allow a smothered mate in the future with a queen check, knight check, and all this stuff. If they have a good sense of humor, obviously no resigning, just like in Team USA versus Team India. Yeah, nice game from her. How did she break through? Because obviously I wasn't here. Maybe the
Yeah,
audience.
just
Though, but
really
I'm just curious.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just have a quick action replay on that. We left it here when Fiona had joined us. Anna's community had sacrificed the B pawn to open up the B line, attacking that knight that's just landed on D6, and immediately trying to break open that defensive E5 pawn with the move F6. We saw a couple of trades. The position opens up, bishop takes pawn, best move according to the engine, and of course Judith finds it. And the whole idea is around the move D5. If that bishop is captured, that would, which it was in fact, and Levy D5 happened, hitting the knight. Queen goes back, and this is how Judith's pawn became an absolute monster. Again, just not giving black any time at all. You take that pawn, the knight gets pinned on the board. Bishop came out. Judith's just going all out. She just doesn't care. The rook on D1 is hanging, but who cares about the rook when the queen on E7 is on pre, when the knight jumps to G6? And the check that you mentioned in another position did arrive. Queen D5, King H8. Rook takes pawn, hits the queen. Queen moved forward. That C pawn, also as strong as a queen, hits the rook. And this is how we got here. And this is where we are. Levy, this might be the first game to finish at this year's festival.
At maximum, there's about 5 moves to go. If black doesn't vote on resignation immediately. Of course, I think black would resign here if this was a classical game, but maybe not. Never resign. You know, maybe your opponent forgets about your board and 52 minutes go by and she runs out of time. It was a nice game. Yeah, bishop takes c4 was a super nice idea. And when you first showed the position, when black had sacrificed the pawn to open things up, black actually was doing well. Like the evaluation bar was showing some nice ideas, but this is an almost unplayable position against somebody with Judith's playing style. I mean, you have to be so precise here. And as we saw, just like 2 moves later, they're losing, you know? And
the only way to stay in the game in this position was to make the move knight to b6. I mean, good luck finding that, right? You don't pick up that pawn on e6.
Yep.
You just simply move your knight away, passing the move.
Yeah. Also, I guess like knight a4 and stuff. In classical, I think it's for sure findable, but in a simul, yeah, I mean, this is like a master level move. Just ignore everything in the middle. That's one of the hardest things. Like your eyes are so drawn to the center of the board, to recapturing pawns, and one recapture and you're just losing. And that's why, you know, this is the tough thing. Like, you know, Tanya, you coaching like an 1800 or a 2000 and they go, what did I do wrong? Sometimes it's like really hard to explain, you know?
Exactly. Because it's really tough to make moves like that. You mentioned an idea, knight a4. It also aims at simply against the sacrifice that Judith got on the board, right? So it's also attacking, but prophylactic at the same time. And then you say, you know what? This pawn isn't going anywhere. And this would have actually been even slightly better for Anna. But as we saw the game, how it went on, instead, Judith, of course, found bishop takes pawn. And then really nicely done. And Levy, in this position, we do have a result. Our first game of the Judith Polgar Global Chess Festival ends. Anna's community resigns. We have her there. She's all smiles. Of course, it is all about enjoying the process and everything that's going on there. But quite a masterpiece there by Judith. Bishop takes pawn.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think, okay, they did take on b8 and in a shocking turn of events, Judith found the queen fork. I can't believe she spotted that one. That's a one mover. That's why we got to practice our forks for anybody watching this. By the way, her rook was hanging for like 10 moves. Like just bishop takes rook is just still possible, but it's over, of course. I think they should have played till smothered mate. What do you think?
That would have been awesome. Love to see those mates happen. But like you said, the rook was hanging, and Judith didn't even bother defending it, didn't take the time out. She just went on the counter offense every single move. But I think it's fair to say that when you're playing against Judith and knight f7 arrives, that's the bottom left board, your queens lose it, your queen's going to get out of the board, the knight and the queen coming in, the mate happening in 5 moves. Understandable that Anna's community decided to call it a day. So Judith gets her first win. 5 boards are still on. She's completely crushing it on that top right board. By the way, your sacrifice, the rook levy, it's been given up. Rook takes bishop happened.
Yeah, she took, but I guess in this case she's going to be winning the knight on the c6 square. So it's not even a sacrifice. It's just a good investment. She's just going to be giving up a rook for 2 pieces. Yeah, it's the most surgical, and it is instructive for people watching just how little mercy is given at her level, and really at like master chess level when you have such a winning position. Whereas some beginners could still find a way back here with black, in the top right, obviously. Yeah, because if there's knights on the board, you should just really never resign. I mean, they can give, forks anywhere.
And I think that's a fantastic point you make, because anyone who studied Judith's games, especially at her peak, it was clear that winning positions, which is one of the hardest things to do, was something that Judith truly mastered. She never sort of let go side of the ball, and she would try to finish the game as quickly as possible. Many times, Levy, when we're playing, I know it's happened to me, and I'm sure you probably also felt it a few times, you get a good position, you just sort of become a bit cash on the board. You're not as focused anymore. And you start giving chances to your opponent, slowly, and the margin for victory starts narrowing down. And how many winning positions we messed up like that? But not Judith. Even as a young girl, she knew that was one of the very big challenges of chess. And if you look at her games, you understand that, in fact, her focus almost doubled up when she was on the win, when she was on the hunt, when she knew she had an advantage.
Yeah, as far as weaknesses as a player, that for me is number one. And I never know if it's a matter of focus, if it's a matter of poor calculation, energy, psychology, right? Because if you do something wrong 5 or 6 times, ultimately your brain starts being like, oh, I'm going to do this wrong again. And then you kind of, but yeah, I'm like a monster the first 20 moves of the game. But then if I get a better position, for whatever reason, I'm just kind of like, I'll figure it out. And yeah, I've let people back into games more times than I would like to admit. Yeah.
Let's Sagar know.
No, yeah. I by the way, listen, the game I beat him when we played online, I was like winning, and then I blundered a really, really ridiculous defensive move, and then he blundered a rook in time trouble because he mouse slipped. So I'm just hoping he mouse slips over the board. That's basically my strategy for victory. But we have another decisive result. They've resigned the top right board.
The top right board. Well, no surprises there. We did have a look at that. Huge material advantage after giving up the rook, picks up the knight. Now it's upper rook. The pawns are about to queen, so chess is for everyone. That board's over. It's 2-0 for Judith. 4 boards still on. And Levy, I want to bring our attention to the Chessable Improver because it's really heating up there. Judith's given away the flank pawn, the A2 pawn. Very often the poisonous one, but in this position, safe to pick it up. It's quite crazy because I just realized that it's still material balance. At first, I thought someone's got to be up a pawn in this position.
This actually looks like a very legitimate game. Like this, this game could be, whereas in some of the other ones, she kind of broke through in the middle game and got a crushing position within 20, 25 moves. This still looks like, this looks like some Erdogmush game, where his opponent is like taking a pawn and he's going for like a checkmate. And I feel like recently I've seen so many of that Turkish prodigies games that he's always attacking people. And yeah, Judith is very much the same. And I mean, Tanya, this one's far from over, I feel like, if black defends correctly, which is not guaranteed. Like, what is white's winning plan? Is it f6, bishop f6? Is it e6, f6? Is it, rook f4, rook g4? Like, how is white winning the position here?
I think if it's white's move, you simply go bishop f6, forcing black to go g6, and just checkmate, kill it on the dark squares, right? It kind of looks undefendable. to fight against that. So Judith set that up, and it was amazing to see how quickly she made the move queen to g3. And that's the thing, right? It's material balance. Pawns are level, but this is opposite color complex for the bishop, which means that the dark squares is where your play is at for Judith. And for black, it would be the light squares, because that's the bishop that you have. But white's king is so safe. It's so much about king safety in this position. So while you say it looks like a normal chess game, I actually think it's one where black is in huge trouble, because white's the one that's setting up the attack. In opposite color bishop, if you can get an attack to your opponent's king, it's often brutal, and you can't fight against it, because simply you can't fight the squares your opponent's playing on. In this case, Judith's got control over the dark squares.
Yeah, and they say in opposite colored bishop positions, as you said, it benefits the attacker, and I don't think there is a greater example of a useless bishop than the one on a2. I mean, you talk about a guy that just went on vacation while the king is about to be absolutely brutalized. I guess my question was, like, what about king h8? And then where is Judith's win? I mean, I'm sure she'll find one. You know, what if we just don't get checkmated? Because rook takes d4, bishop f6, like you said. And I think it's just game over.
Yes.
King h8, yeah.
You
I'm glad the eval bar hasn't shot up like triple, you know? Rook d4 loses,
and this
obviously.
is the idea we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. I think you can just directly go for checkmate here. And if g6, amongst other things, queen to g5, and the queen sliding over, is just game over. Maybe it's not even the strongest option, but the dark square weaknesses, they're going to tell. And notice how none of black's army is coming to rescue here. So king to h8 looks like the move that you have to make, stepping away from the pin, making sure there's no bishop to f6. And unfortunately, that doesn't work, because I think black just takes and then slides the rook over, and you're still defending g7.
Right. So then what do you do? This is kind of the interesting... What do you do here? You know, you can set up something super cool. Can we just put... I like moving other people's pieces. I don't know if you feel this way as a commentator, but like... So 100%. Let's say you put the rook on f4. Just like... I'm trying to set up a position where... I'm hoping she gets this. I don't think she has enough time, but let's just say black plays, pawn to a4. Just give black a couple of empty moves, which I don't think they will play. Now you play like bishop f6. You try to play some bishop f6 move. Pawn takes, rook g8, queen h4.
Oh like my goodness, that is nasty. We got to show the mate.
Yeah, how do you even stop it? I guess queen f8 or queen f8 is like the only way, right? And then you sack the queen, and then queen h7.
Okay, maybe that's a better move. You at least don't lose on the spot, but you've got ideas like rook d3, rook h3 coming in, and it's just a brutal attack. I think you still checkmate. But Levi, I have to show your idea, because it's not about the rook. It's about the queen this time.
Yeah, this is one of those hidden sacrifices in these kinds of attacks. Like it looks like you stopped everything, but then somehow this dumb pawn wall prevents the king from escaping. Like, she's got to end the game like this, right? I mean, it would be so epic. But she doesn't have time. I don't think she has time to do everything here.
She's got a lot of time on the clock. By the way, king h8 on the board. And you wanted to set up all these ideas. I won't be surprised if he actually goes your way, because we know that Judith loves to set up these mating nets. But I believe you do have a move instead. She's gone for something more direct. Also very Judith, to go e6. And I think the point is, after pawn takes pawn, she's going to throw the f pawn forward as well. She just wants to blow open the position. e6, f6, just coming for the black king. Looks incredible.
And I think it's instructive. We can show, look how bad the eval would be affected had she played f6 first. I think for many people, they would think pawn to f6, but they forget. And now it's just totally equal, because after pawn to g6, like, the worst thing you can do is get your pawns blockaded in an attack. And white has nothing here. Like, the bishop somehow is now like a miracle worker, just defending everything. And you don't have the configuration or the space to break through on the right side of the board. So yeah, e6 is super important, because black can't do this now, right? So on the live board, she played e6 and then f6, this kind of idea to give a pawn to break through. And after pawn takes and f6, if black played g6, black is completely lost, because you just play f7, and black is demolished. Bishop f6 is
But it's not
made.
the
Queen e5.
checkmates.
Yeah. So that's super nice.
That
Yeah,
is
e6 f6. I kind of was throwing that idea vaguely out there, but yeah, just for anybody who is watching us right now, this is all like pattern recognition, like all from attacking. Sometimes you push a pawn, then you push the other pawn, or like we would never play f6, but we would have to calculate e6 and then f6. And I mean, Tanya would have won the game like 10 moves ago in some positional grind. Like, she doesn't have to checkmate anybody. Tanya's style is much more effective. Like, just very no stress, But yeah, here we go for
it's
the
not good
dramatic
for the
stuff.
heart, to sacrifice pieces, but it's less entertaining. And I think, Levi, I had the bad side of that deal when I played that match against you, because you were just going boom, boom, boom with all your attack, and somehow it's a lot harder to face that. But I love this, and I love how instructive it was. What you said, you want to make sure you move your pawns at the right time with opposite color and don't get them sort of stopped in a way that you can't move them forward. F6, so attractive, but would have actually given away a huge chunk of advantage. But Judith, she finds these things instantly. And let's remind everyone that we've got only 4 games remaining, only 4 communities still fighting. And I have a feeling that this one might be the third win that Judith gets in. Before we dive deeper into the action, we're going to have a quick look at what happened earlier today with Fiona there. And we can see the atmosphere as the boards were getting set up. Levi, have you been to the festival? Because I haven't. I can tell you, it is a party out there. This is one of the best days for chess. You have these different people from across the world come together to play the Simul. But beyond that, you've got all age groups, people from different spheres, different fraternities, just coming to the Hungarian National Gallery to watch chess. There are seminars being held. There we've got David Martinez. He's saying hi to us. Everyone looks a lot happier before the games get underway against Judith.
Yeah, for sure. I think, why wouldn't they be happy? They're in a beautiful gallery with very friendly people. They got Judith there. What I love the most about these chess events is, like, look at the gap of age between the participants. You have 5-year-olds, you have 95-year-olds, and you have everybody in between. You have people from all over Europe, all over the world, and it's super, super special. I always say it's one of the few things that 3 or 4 generations of a household can kind of enjoy together. And I think it's amazing. I think she's already been doing this for several years, and I would love to be at the next one. It's just, I mean, it's far. I can't say it's a far flight though, because the Indians are coming to Dallas to play one chess game. So what am I talking about? But 2026 maybe. We go there in September, October, and we hang out. I hear Budapest, a beautiful city. You've been there, right? You've played Olympiads there.
I've bbeen there for the Olympiad, of course, very memorable, but also the year before that, I was there for the festival. Super fun, super good vibe. There's so much activities, so many things going on. And just like you said, I mean, one of our boards, the Hungarian Stars, you've got the youngest player here in the Simul who's 8 years old, and the oldest player of the Simul, he's 88 years old, also playing for the Hungarian Stars. And he's an icon in the science fraternity of Hungary. Then you've got the national champion, the under-8 national champion, the under-10 national champion. So it's truly breaking boundaries and barriers, whether it's age, whether it's location, it's geography. It's sort of become so hybrid now. Local, online, all of that. Lots of action going on. 2026, sign me up as well for it. But Levi, like you said, the board, rook takes pawn was the move of choice after e6. Taking the pawn on e6 would have ended in disaster, but I don't think this is going to help Black's cause. How long does Judith take to play f6 here?
Yeah, I guess the hard part is, do you take the rook first or not? And I don't know how quickly you could make such a decision, but like, my gut would be to just remove the rook. Like, maybe I'm missing something. I'm gonna miss some tactic. But yeah, f6 is super direct because you're literally threatening checkmate. And then after pawn to g6, do you play e7 or pawn takes f7? Oh, pawn takes f7, the bishop comes back, and then that would be really stupid. So yeah, and Judith would easily win this because now Black is playing without a rook. That's what's happening. I do have to say though,
I don't see one. I mean, that's
yeah.
Yes.
No, I was gonna say I think oh, never mind. Spanish community is equal again, but they were again much better. I don't know what's happening on that board, but the computer keeps loving their position, and then they keep voting on completely reasonable moves, and then the computer's like, I don't like your position that much anymore. So if we can pop in there, and also chess boxing might lose some long endgame because we know that amateurs might not play as well as grandmasters in the endgame. So where should we go? Should we go to the endgame or should we go to the Spanish board?
I just want to point out that your instincts are very much on point. That's some good news for you, Levy, when you're playing a match against the world as well as an upcoming match against India, because Judith also did trade on d4 before striking with f6. That's the top left board. She's crushing in that one. Huge advantage. Expecting her to push e7, completely kill the black rook there, and then go for the dark squares. Should be winning there. Then we've got that center board against chess boxing. Fascinating ending. Rook versus two bishops. I think that's the board where perhaps Black's doing the best. Would love to take a look at that. And then against the Spanish community, David Martinez on site, making the moves there. It would be one of these two. But before that, should we quickly just jump into Hungarian stars, because we might not get a chance against? I think that one's going to end super soon as well.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it for sure. Let's do it. You would think that the chess boxing community would have lost first, given all the head damage. But they have survived a very long time.
They really have. And the thing is, I think the reason for that is that they kind of stuck to their style. They weren't sort of intimidated by Judith's attack. They took it head on and went really chess boxing on the game as well. They were doing punch for punch, defending when required, but not going super passive. We'll come to that. But let's get an update on the Hungarian stars. And I want to bring your attention to this moment, because this was amazing. So right here, in this position, Judith goes in with knight f5. Ignore the 2 question marks, because I think this is such a beautiful move. The point is that Black just has to take this head on, pawn takes knight, open up the king, and kind of still fighting to survive in that position from a human perspective. Super scary stuff. Decides to try to keep the king under control, keep the pawn wall in front of it, trades on f5. This is how the game progressed. Of course, Judith never trades queens, attacks it, and eventually trades on her terms. As the pawn comes to g5, she's completely demolished Black's pawn structure. The white bishop going to be super active now, heading for e4. Stopped, e7, a big weakness. And a few more moves happen, going to rush past. Just look at the way she doubled down on that g6 pawn, picked it up, now goes for the other weakness, and ends up a bunch of pawns up. And this is where we are, Levy.
This is definitely easy for her. And that's a nice move to put up some resistance, but I think the king and the knight for white are a little bit too close to the left side of the board, so definitely winning, and a position she could win probably if she played, a blindfold simul the rest of the way. But luckily, that's not a rule at this event that you have to do that. So that was very nice. Yeah, it's so tough. I mean, when a player like Judith plays knight to f5 against you, you just immediately assume you've done something wrong. You don't really take the bluff there, like the pawn takes knight situation. And the problem is sometimes if you don't punish those moves, they destroy you. To their credit, they actually played quite well after that, but then they made some bad decisions. And it's so tough to know, though, Tanya. Like, they traded the queen slightly incorrectly. I mean, these are very high-level concepts that, you have to be really good at evaluating an obscure position. And that's really hard in chess.
And that's the thing. Look at this understanding that she decided to get the queens off the board in this position after she's created a weakness on the light squares, where eventually she goes on to win that pawn by first putting a bishop here and then just continuing with the plan. Get that rook to e6 and nothing's defending it.
Yeah.
Incredible understanding.
I thought they were doing all right, but unfortunately, once it gets super complicated, you're bound to make some inaccuracy, and sometimes the moves are so subtle to stay in the game. Like, I have no idea what they did wrong. I'm just like, we're clicking through the moves. I'm like, okay, suddenly white is better. Okay, but it all definitely came down to some super obscure defensive resources, which is one of the reasons I tell people not to play people who are much better than them. Like, sometimes you have a 1200 who has a friend who's 2000 and wants to play with them. And I'm like, no. It's going to be so demoralizing. Like, you're not even going to know what happened, But in a simul, obviously, it's different. Of course, you play and you play the legend, but
this is very interesting what you said, because it was right here that everything went wrong on this board. Well, actually, even before that, but look at this beautiful sequence of moves, and this is where disaster started for this board, for the Hungarian stars. King to h7. Instead, Black had to continue with development on the left flank, and Judith, of course, instantly spotted this idea of e5. Opening up that D line, you can't take that pawn anymore. Knight jumps to f5, so Black's knight was forced to retreat. And looking at that position, just looking at the pieces on the first rank or the 8th rank for Black here, you know that everything's gone wrong. And against a player like Judith, you don't survive such stuff. She got g4, she got knight f5, she got all of that in. And right now, this is the end game. Like you said, White can start getting the king closer towards the left flank, the knight as well, ready to jump in. You don't even care about the g5 pawn. Black's king is so distracted, and this should be pretty trivial for Judith.
Yeah, but a good fight. Maybe we can check out the chess boxing endgame, which is
let's do it.
Which is an endgame that definitely is a bit closer. I'm really impressed, I have to say. And there was just the Chess Boxing World Championships that took place. I saw that our very own James Canty became a world champion. I'm shocked they found somebody in his weight class anywhere near comparable in skill level in chess. Like, I mean, that dude is like 220, the most jacked chess player I've ever seen in my life, and he's like 2,300 FIDE. Like, I just don't. Yeah. It's not fair,
Yeah, you gotta pick one, right? You can't be so good at both. I mean, you can't be acing it at both like that.
Yeah, it's not fair. Like, save some rating or save some muscles for the rest of us. And yeah, I mean, I had a bad feeling. I had a bad feeling that there was nobody in the world that could compete, and a very deserving world champ. I'm not sure this move on the board is particularly good. Why can't she just, I mean, that's what I said, but what? This is bad? Oh, she can't take the pawn. She can't take the pawn because of g5 check.
We got to show that, right? Because that's the little trick here. So let me just make a bit of a non-move here. And the point is that you can't rush with rook takes pawn. Levy tactics on point, man. g5, it forks the king and the rook. And yes, you have a streamer's favorite move, but that doesn't help the cause. The knight jumps back, and you anyway end up losing material. But I think the problem is, Levy, that after rook h3, you don't need to rush, right? Because you're simply going to step back with your king next and then grab that pawn anyway. Black's just created a weakness with a trap in mind, but that trap can be deflected, and you're still left with the weakness.
Yeah. But man, if rook h3 is, yes, I mean, she's not gonna blunder a rook, but I'm getting nervous here. I mean,
yeah,
there's not many tricks, and I feel like in a simul you need some tricks left, and if they keep finding some clutch moves like d4, I mean, d4 is a great move. d4 is a fantastic move. Wait,
yeah, it's actually trapping White's king in so many of the lines there. Because d4, the most natural response almost feels like you have to take the pawn. You can't allow it to like move forward and start promoting itself. And king takes pawn, and notice how the White king is really stuck here. You have ideas like knight d3. You could also throw in a bishop d5, bishop h5, and start delivering some checkmates on the board.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, I realized you have bishop h5, knight t3. And you're just...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The White king is trapped.
This is... yeah, the White king's trapped in an endgame. And that's the beauty of minor pieces, right? Especially when you manage to combine and put a knight at the center of the board, where it controls maximum squares. They found d4. Levy d4 on the board. They played it.
Oh, wow. Are they listening to us? I refuse to accept that chess boxers have any remaining brain cells. d4 is brilliant, all right? I'm really worried for Judith now as a biased spectator.
You've done some chess boxing yourself, haven't you?
No. I have not. I did sign up
Well,
for a
that doesn't
boxing
count.
gym. I did sign up for a boxing gym because I thought I would
It's
be.
not the same.
Yeah, no, I did a little boxing, but I would never. I would never. No, never.
Never say never, Levy.
That's true. I mean, if somebody came along today and said, "Here's a ridiculous amount of money, go chess box somebody," I would probably do it. But yeah, nobody. I mean, chess can't find sponsors generally. I somehow doubt that we will find ridiculous paydays. But you never know, Tanya. That's the career arc for most content creators. Is they end up boxing someone 12 years after their career starts. So, can we expect you to box somebody?
Ugh. I think I can safely say never for that. But you know what you're saying about boxing someone 12 years down, that's the irony of it, because when you're sort of playing chess, you're kind of boxing yourself every day after a tough game, and then after that you find different ways of making it. But Levi, to your point, I think everything's changing. I don't know what you're talking about, because so many cool events are happening, sponsors are coming in, we've got so much I don't think there's been a better time in the chess world than now, man. As a chess fan, as a chess commentator, as a chess creator, as a player.
Yeah, as a player, which I will be in 4 days. That's so scary that I have to play this event in 4 days. Yeah. By the way, Judith playing pawn to b4. She's trying to deflect the king away. But I'm worried. I mean, black is playing very well on this board. This chess boxing team.
Oof. And the Valbar agrees with you completely, Levi. That's the one Judith Polgar is in trouble with. She's already got 2 wins up her back. She's winning. She's crushing it on some of the other boards. Action is on in Budapest. We got Levi with us, chat. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a short break as we reach the final moments of the Global Chess Festival.
Hello and welcome to JUDIT POLGAR'S Global Chess Festival here at the beautiful Hungarian National Gallery in Budapest. Today is the big day. All day long we'll be celebrating chess. There are so many different programs, so many activities, a tournament and a big simul, which we will show you now in a second. If we go up here to the first floor, right here at 2 o'clock, Judith will be taking on 6 different communities. So all of you will have a chance to get involved. You can find more information online, of course, on the festival website. The event will be broadcast live on Chess.com, so that will be happening here. It's one of the main events, but there is so much else happening. So let's do a quick tour of the other floors. From up here we can see the stage downstairs. Judith will be playing a blindfold game. Well, it's an invisible piece game, let's say. There will be chess boxing demonstrations. People will be playing on the chessboard all day long. There are activities throughout the gallery. If we turn around, on the level right above us, you will spot a familiar sight, the famous Rubik's Cube. The inventor of the Rubik's Cube will be here himself. He will be doing some signings. There will be special activities connected to the Rubik's Cube. So a fun day of chess awaits. We don't have time in this single video to show you everything, but we'll be bringing you content all day long. So do stay tuned. I'm here with Norbert Fogarasi, the head of the Budapest office of Morgan Stanley. Norbert, thank you so much for your time and for, of course, sponsoring this event with Morgan Stanley for 7 years in a row already. Please let us know your thoughts on the event and why you're sponsoring it.
Sure. Morgan Stanley is one of the biggest financial institutions in the world, and this is the 7th time that we're sponsoring this amazing event. It's always a pleasure to come here to see all of the activities. There are 30 different events happening at this venue. Some of them we're involved in as Morgan Stanley. We have a big office here in Budapest. We have more than 3,000 people working for us, mathematicians, risk managers, finance professionals, mathematicians. So actually chess is very popular in our office. We have many titled players playing here, and actually we have a Morgan Stanley competition where more than 1,000 players play every year.
I heard about that. That's that's so impressive. How did that start?
Yeah, it started about 15 years ago with just a small competition here in Budapest, and there was only 10 or 12 of us back then. And then year over year we started advertising it internationally. We have a big office in India. That helps. There are many chess fans over there, but we have players from all over North America joining in, some from Asia, from the UK, all over Europe. So it's grown into this big competition. Initially it was team competition. We played online, so each office would put out a team, but now it's individual competition. And as I said, more than 1,000 players. We have grandmasters that work for Morgan Stanley, international masters, FIDE masters. So it's turned into a really strong event.
And you're, of course, being very humble. You're a strong player yourself at 2150 rating. Do you take part in the competition?
Yeah, so I'm a candidate master level player. Last year I made it to the top 8, so I was proud of that. In earlier years when the competition was smaller, I was part of the winning team, so I have some titles to my name. But this year I didn't participate, seeing what an amazing crop of players we have all over, so I've let them take the center stage.
And let's talk about the festival finally. As you mentioned, the 7th year of Morgan Stanley sponsoring the event. What are your impressions of the event so far today? I mean, we're not even halfway, but your thoughts?
It's amazing to see the crowds. Last year we had a record crowd. More than 6,000 people came and visited the event in person. Plus, we also have a big online following. JUDIT does the community Simul online. There's a Chess.com event. So lots and lots of interest. It's a great way for Morgan Stanley to showcase itself and show how much we support the world of chess, and JUDIT in her quest to inspire the next generation of critical thinkers.
Fantastic. Norbert, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and, of course, for sponsoring this event, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
It's Celebration Day for Chess. It is Global Chess Festival, the 11th edition, and action is on at the Hungarian National Gallery. 3 games, 3 victories for Judith so far. 3 games are still on. One of them she is in big trouble in. It's the chess boxing board. Matt Thomas, the Matador, in action with his community. Things getting exciting there. We've got Levy with us to take us through all the action. Levy, have you been amazed by the moves the Matadors community is bringing on?
Yeah, so far so good. I feel like in every Simul you always have one standout crowd. And in this one, maybe we have 2. Like the Spaniards have been doing very well, and the chess boxers as well. They are the ones genuinely posing some sort of threat. The Spaniards, meanwhile, the Spaniards have less than 10 seconds, so maybe we should go there, because they might lose on time, Tanya. But maybe not. Maybe they've just forced a draw. It's Judith's winning. Oh, just
Great
in
call there, by the way.
time. Wow. Oh my gosh, Tanya, that was crazy. It was equal until a move ago.
Amazing. This is crazy stuff. And rook e7 comes in with a deadly threat of going in with rook e8 just in time, like you said, to fight against the a3 pawn there. And look at the way the black king is boxed up. No way to come close to the defense of that rook. And this is about to finish. And there we have it, the round of applause. Judit Polgar gets her 4th win.
That was wild. Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's do an instant replay there. If we can just back up for a second. It looked like all smooth sailing. I have no idea what black was supposed to play here. Maybe just rook f8.
Exactly, Levy. You've hit the nail here, because you have to stop the idea of f7. That's the big threat here, right? Because the black king can't fight against the h and the f pawn. So rook f8 was the only move. And actually, black's doing just fine after that. There's no way to defend this pawn. If you come in with a check, black slides over, rook takes pawn, and you can even just drive the rook away with king h7.
But they invested in that a pawn and they pushed it, and somehow they pushed it a square too far, because f7 check, and you know what else is extremely brutal? King f8, h7, and you win the race. King g7, f8, double check. So nasty. And then
Levy's on fire.
Yeah, and then you promote to a rook, obviously, and that's how you. And
how could I do that? I'm gonna do it again. Just rectify my big blunder, and that's how you finish it off in style. The rook.
Yes, you have to promote there. But wow, that was a wild game. By the way, it does look like in time trouble, the chess boxers, after weaving a nasty checkmate net, have let it go. Judith's king is free. They had a draw on the board, by the way. I don't know what happened, but like I said, they used up every last brain cell, and then I gotta stop making fun of head damage in boxing. But I do feel like they kind of invited upon themselves. But if we can just go to that board to show Tanya, they did everything correctly. They put, look at this, like they set everything up to trap the king, and then for whatever reason, on the last move, they just let the king go. Look, it was perfect.
Take it away from here, Levy. This is what we had, right? And d4 was so impressive.
Yeah, d4, and then, they kept the king close, and then they traded, and Judith found this nice idea to run her rook out of the way, but then they locked the king up with bishop h5, which was, obscene, and then knight d3 check, and the king is trapped. So Judith sacrificed the pawn. She understood that she needed to deflect, the piece away. And then here, this move b5, and all black has to do is bring the knight back to the square it was on. Like, nothing changed. Now, they did this in a slightly different way. Yeah, exactly. And white is lost. White's king is stuck. They did it this way. Now it's a draw. You check. And the black king just slides up and down. So you keep the king trapped. So rook a4 check. King should go down to d3. Knight h3 is literally mate, which is ridiculous. They went there. Why did they go there? How did they play all of those moves and then king c3? It's just crazy move. I don't know.
Just letting the white king out of the mating net. And your idea, just to show that instead of king c3, just keep the white king boxed up. Don't allow it to get out of the net. And the only way that Judith could have continued was just check back and forth.
This wasn't even difficult. Like, I've been telling you, I don't know. It must be a side effect of head damage. They did everything so well.
It's like 686 is the count we're on that trope now.
Yeah. I'm glad to see she will win. Yes, but check now. Check, and that's the end of the hope.
Oh. Yep. But that's amazing, right, Lavi? Because that's the difference from checking from this side and checking from behind, from the d7 square, because now you're forcing the black king away, and you've got your own king coming out and there's no more mating net. And also look at the discoordination between the minors and the black king. That was the glory of black's position, when everything was on the center, when you've caged the white king, and now all of that's lost. Judith, she defends the b5 pawn. I think we can ignore that cross simply because I think that's the move that 10 out of 10 chess players would make.
Yeah. But now, yeah, now this is easy. I mean, bishop d1 is definitely, I mean, I don't even get it. Like king e, what? I guess you're
Bishop
just winning
d1,
some
and you just sack.
check.
Oh, there's a check though. There's a check.
Okay, they didn't play that. They played knight g4. And yeah, now this is child's play. And Judith will convert the remaining 2 endgames. I mean, super impressive from her, by the way, because she would literally walk up to the board and play the best move to like save her king, save her rook instantly. Never hesitated.
It's amazing. And how quickly she found the idea of freeing up her own king. You know, g4, fighting against the mating net. Then the only defensive resource that she had, I think she would have been forced to that draw had. And it's interesting, right? Because black played these beautiful moves, set up this whole position in a fantastic way, and then so close to the finish line. And that's the part that hurts the most in games like these, when they know that they just had the draw in their hands.
Yeah. I mean, this game for black is like story of my life as a chess player, so I kind of feel, but even I would have played king d3. I mean, I have to say, like,
give us the 30-second spiel on the story of your life as a chess player.
The one that got away, like that's the best the best way that I can describe it. Yeah, but this one, I mean, I have to say I probably would have played king d3, trying to keep the king in a box. Now this is easy. You take g7, those pieces are not as well coordinated as they once were. And the other board that we are not looking at, Judith simply has 2 extra pawns in a knight endgame. What's interesting, by the way, is I feel like she's standing at the same board. She's beating them down on the chess boxing board. Yeah, she's just staying there because they have 30 seconds. So she doesn't want them to have any time to think. It's almost like she's forcing Matt Thomas to play the moves instead of like the vote of the community, which is very funny. She's trying to end that game right then and there, which is interesting.
I love it. And this is what we spoke about, right? When Judith's in a winning position, when she's in driver's seat, she gets the job done immediately. She's not taking any chances. She's putting the pressure on. Matt, find the move while I stand there. Playing Judith's hard enough. Playing Judith while she's right there is even more difficult as chess boxing board collapses even further. I want to say knight takes on. Do we just simply bring the rook?
Yeah.
Oh. That is beautiful stuff. Oh, look at Matt, he reacts.
Yeah.
He knows this is over.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Nice. Rook h7 is the sick, is the simple move. Rook g6 is the sick move. And that is that. He probably has a few more seconds. But
I'm also going to point out, right across from that board levy are the Hungarian stars. You see the under-8 girls champion right there. She's 8 years old. The national champion there, one of the big prodigies coming out of Hungary right now. And then you've got her teammates, the 10-year-old boy as well. He's the under-10 champion who's crushed it in his field for the last 3 years, undefeated. And there we have a result. Matt Thomas resigns for the chess boxing community. Judith Polgar was in trouble, but a bit of a Houdini act there. And then when she had the ball, she just never gave it back. Crushed it in true Judith style with rook g6 at the end.
Yeah, very nice. Rook g6, winning the endgame. And 6-0. Versus, it's 6 games, but I feel like the communities of thousands and thousands of people was very impressive. And I guess we have the stars left.
The stars are still shining, I want to say, but not really, because the position's actually pretty lost right now. It's it's not much. of a shiny
Do you
sky right now.
do you offer a pity draw, or do you try to beat everybody?
The question is, does Judith ever offer a pity draw? And I do think sometimes, and there we have also a round of applause. It's 5-0 as Judith makes her way back to the last remaining board, just simply because the cute face is right there. I mean, look at that 8-year-old, look at that 10-year-old. I don't know, what do you think? Will Judith's heart melt?
No, I think she's a strong believer in you have to play for the win. You know, you have to you cannot instill this. Oh, I just realized something really unfortunate. The Black Knight is completely trapped.
No way home.
Yeah, that's rough. And you will just push the pawns. I don't think there's actually a way to push forward without releasing the knight. So at some point she will have to let it go.
Yeah. And she's just going to overload the Black King. You just advance d6, b6. And I agree with you. I don't think Judith offers draws. She also thinks it's sort of a way to, make the young kids and the rising stars of Hungary understand that they have to earn every single point in chess. And there we have it. It's handshakes on this board. Levy Judith does it on all 6 boards. And what a beautiful performance. What a beautiful day in Budapest. It's 6-0 for Judith Polgar.
Yeah, very nice. Done in typical Judith style. I think there were sacrifices, at least one on almost every board, if I'm not mistaken. One board was dicey, but that's usually how it goes in Simuls. And they all put up a good fight. Super impressive. I'm just reading a chat message here, Tanya, that says, I played against Pia Kramling. Would I play Judith Polgar in a similar match? And the answer is unequivocally, well, yes for the experience, but no, because I wouldn't make a single draw. So it would be a merciless obliteration. So probably not. But for the experience, yes.
I think Judith, honestly, when it comes to chess, she still has that same fire and that same competitive spirit in her. I think she goes all out much. I mean, we've all seen that game against Magnus as well, right? In the park, having fun there, but just how she played. I mean, that was incredible to watch. It was game over in about 20 moves. I'd love to see a Judith versus Levy match, but I think that is going to be pretty rough, Levy.
We could play on the same team, me and you. Like, I feel like
I don't know if that'll help you.
I was gonna say, and it has nothing to do with you or me. I think it has to do more with Judith. But yeah, very nice, beautiful bow tie as well. Got the nice
amazing, and the very cute scenes coming in from there. Players shaking hands. We've had so many. You had 6 communities, with 6 communities spread out amongst hundreds of players, with the online community of Anna Rudolph, of Mac Thomas, the Hungarian stars playing, the Spanish chess community. It's been an awesome day of chess. And at the end, Judith getting the dub in on all the boards, but it's been about a celebration of the game. Chess connects us, bringing the world together. And these were our 6-star communities that we had. Chess is for everyone, Chessable Improvers, Anna Rudolph, playing with her community, Chess Boxing, the Spanish community, as well as the Hungarian stars. Big action. Judith sticking to her style on every board, crushing it, crashing it, 6-0. And before we go on a quick break, 6-0 for Judith. Levy, I'm going to put you on a spot. India versus USA. What's your score prediction there? You weren't expecting it right now, right here, were you, Levy Rossman?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it's going to be 5-0. If anybody's going to win that event 5-0, it would probably be India. I mean, I guess we have Hikaru, but other than that, I don't think it's going to be. I mean, it will probably, considering you cannot make a draw on any of the boards, I will predict 3-2 Team USA. Now, if you want me to predict individual boards, I don't know if I can do that. I have a feeling it will be 2-1, and then I will beat Sagar to make it 2-2, and then Hikaru defeats Gukesh, and we win 3-2. Comeback victory in Arlington, Texas, October the 4th. Don't miss it. Buy your tickets on pay-per-view. There are no tickets. It will be epic, though.
It'll be epic. It'll be awesome. What you also can't miss is, of course, Gotham Chess versus the rest of the world. E4, C6, Caro Khan on the board. Join in the fun. And what you definitely can't miss is on the other side of the board, we will have Judith in for an interview. What a beautiful day of chess it's been. What fantastic chess, inspiring chess by Judith herself. We'll be chatting with her. Send in your chat questions to us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Judith Polgar Global Chess Festival. To our main highlight, as we've got the Queen herself joining us. Judith's with us after a fantastic event. 6-0 in the Simul. What a beautiful day of chess. Judith, first of all, welcome, and your first feelings coming out of, well, the 11th edition of your festival.
Actually, it was a very fun day so far. I played a lot of chess, which I don't do so much these days. I was playing the invisible chess game against my former teammate, Peter Raj. It was a black chessboard with all pieces completely white. and so it was a blind game, kind of. And the host was saying at the end when I won the game that white won. After that, we tried out. It was the first premiere when I played the Rubik chess game. There, I was playing against another master, and there were noise, audio, some when we had to stop. I couldn't make my move because my partner had to be solving the cube. So only then I could make my move. That was also quite a special experience. So it worked very well. The audience liked it. After that, I was playing with Susan in teams. I mean, against her, but I had two people in my team, and she had her self two players in the team. So that was a fun game. With excitement, with some tactics. And then I came here to play this Simul, which was quite fun. And in some games, it was quite interesting.
Yeah, we were very worried on the chess boxing board right as the end game got started. So can you reflect on that game a little bit? Did you feel you were in a little trouble, and how do you deal with that when you're like, wait a minute, I gave this person in this community too many chances?
Well, actually, when I simplified the position by playing knight d5, giving up my knight, bishop for the rook and pawn, I have to admit that I blundered queen f8 when after queen e7 he defended. And after that, probably pushing f4, giving away my e4 square was kind of dangerous. But when he played, or they played bishop h5, and I suddenly see, my God, I'm going to get checkmated on d3. Oh, that was not a nice moment. So after that, I started to escape with my famous G4, but this was like rescuing completely. And just after that, after the game, Matt told me that, well, he played wrong, because if he plays if he goes king d3, knight f2, then he has this all the threat on h3 and d3. So I had to go perpetuate check. So it was quite challenging at that point.
We could feel it, Judith, because you had the Hungarian star sitting on the opposite side, but you kept standing on that board. I think you were also enjoying the challenge of it, but just how difficult and complicated things had gotten. Did you feel like this is now going to end in a draw if the king would have gone to d3? Were you prepared for that then?
Well, at first I got a heart attack that I'm going to get checkmated. So a draw seems to be a better result. And then somehow very fast, because they started to have go a long time. So after that it was things speed up, and when they went king away, and I could take already the h7. Then I felt that, wow, I'm going to be winning. So they're pretty fast. Things are happening. For a fraction of a second, I really thought I could checkmate.
Judith, in these simuls, what's the hardest part? Like, is it hard to have a blind spot? Is there a certain type of move that is a blind spot? What's the most difficult thing about walking around playing, 6 boards or any number of boards, especially against good players?
Well, now this is like the 5th or 6th simul for me to play clock simul, because before I was not playing much of clock simul. And the main difference is that while you're giving a regular simul, you're always standing at the board, you make your intuitive move, you pass to the next board and the next board, right? But here you have to make a decision where to stop and for how long to stop. And this is the most difficult to understand, that first of all, you keep, of course, all the 6 games or whatever number of communities you're playing. Keep it in mind, at the same time focusing in and out all the time. So the time management and to pick the right moment when to think, that's the most difficult.
Some good tips out there for anyone planning to give a simul. There was this other very fascinating moment, and it happened at the Hungarian Stars board. And I believe you've also got a chat question on that from Patrick's. And it was that moment when you played e5. I think right before that, we saw you walk over to the Hungarian Stars board, and you were having quite a discussion with them. We could see you sort of explaining maybe some lines. What was going on there? Can you tell us what happened then?
Well, basically, the Hungarian stars, they had a lot of fun. They had a lot of discussion, and then I was explaining them that actually their position is pretty bad. So if I go e5, it already seems very bad as I'm pushing away their knight. And then we were just chatting around about that. And well, after the opening, I had a great position. And then when I took e takes d6, I was telling them, explaining them, well, I can go e takes d, I can go f6, I can go whatever. Basically, I have a fantastic position. And then I choose e takes d6. And after queen d6, it was not easy at all. So I had to win my game again.
Yeah, that was definitely and I think, Tanya, I was probably not there for this e5 moment, but basically when I joined the show and I swapped for Fiona, I noticed that I think in more than half the boards, like there was a typical Judith sacrifice. There was like a knight f5, there was a bishop c4, and my question, I guess, is I've played maybe one simul, maybe two. Is this the type of style that is the most successful in your opinion? Obviously, it's also your style, which is very helpful. Like, do you have to force complex positions when people are playing as a unit, because that makes it much more challenging and intimidating? Like, you don't want to play a slow game, you kind of want to strike and go for the kill.
Well, at that point when I sacrificed knight f5 in this game after e5, I thought it's just, first of all, actually there we had a discussion and I told them that, well, you know, guys, I can go knight f5. And then the writer was telling, no, but you have to play against us as if you're playing against Kasparov. And are you sure you would go knight f5, sacrificing your knight? And then this was the debate that I was telling them. So they were skeptical that against Kasparov I wouldn't go knight f5. So eventually I said, okay, I go knight f5 here, but I said I would go against Gary as well. I just like the game when it's actually there are a lot of action. Of course, I would, if I would think that it's not a good move, I wouldn't just play knight f5 to sacrifice something just for the fun of it. But if I find it interesting and challenging, why not to do it?
Yeah, that's amazing, because that also leads me to this next question, right? It really felt like, Judith, you stuck to your style during the Simul. Like, every board was exciting, it was entertaining when you got that opportunity. All these sacrifices, even knight b5 on one of the board, giving up the knight, going for that pawn on d6. You know, you went for it without hesitation. And it sort of reminded me so much of so many vintage Judith classics that we've seen. And I want to zoom out a little bit, because I've been to the festival in 23 and I've seen the energy that's there, you know. From being the strongest female chess player in the history of the game, being an absolute legend and an icon of chess and a true ambassador of it, to creating this global event which Chess connects us, bringing communities together, and doing it now for the 11th edition. What does that mean to you, and how has it changed from first time you had it in 2015, now doing it in 2025?
Actually, it's growing and it's transforming in some ways. Like in the beginning, when we started, we started in 2007 with an afternoon event, and then we started to grow it. And then we expanded the event with more activities, more people. A lot of people also come from abroad, and so people know already about the festival, how colorful it is, how fun it is. It's an experience for a long time. We have guests who are coming back from India, 10th time, from Chile also for so many years, and we have a lot of Hungarian visitors who come back. Today we had a lot of schools, because it's a weekday. So this is something we alternated. Last year, because of the Olympics, free day was on the weekday. That's why we did it then. We had more than 6,000 people last year. So we said, okay, let's do it on a weekday so schools can come. And this is what has happened, that a lot of schools visited as a field trip for them to come over to the National Museum. And well, what I would like to achieve later, of course, here it's very beautiful in the location of the gallery. Every level we have chess in some ways. the reason I like this community Simul, so other people who cannot make it here can also get a bite of it. And I really like when a lot of people can enjoy something at the same time, and it's connected to chess.
Amazing.
I guess my last question is not about, let's say, the festival, but about chess in Hungary. And I'm curious if there's any prodigies, teenagers, young adults that you're keeping an eye on specifically, who, you know, maybe are getting some medals at the World Youth or World Cadet, or just generally, like, how is the young chess culture there in Hungary, in schools, in competitive tournaments, and the overall, you know, vibe of chess in the country?
Well, chess has a huge chess history for 120 years, 130 years. We always had top players in women's section and in men's section. Later we call it open section. So we have a lot of tradition. Nowadays, of course, there are a lot of things in the world, so there are not so many kids who are so high at the moment. But we have some kids like Jokogav between the girls. But here, for example, we had a 10-year-old boy who is pretty talented. Was playing for the Hungarian team, and also he was playing with me when we played this garden chess set with big chess pieces. So I see that there are quite a lot of kids who are very interested and parents who support. But I'm still looking for those who will really rise and be grandmaster at the age of 12, 13, and really go for it. But chess itself is pretty popular also in schools. I have my program, the Chess Palace, but also in many schools they have after-school programs. So the game itself, it's spread a lot. Only with my program we have about 50,000 kids annually who is taking the program. And we every year have a lot of people here. So it's growing, and I think chess is performing very well. That it gives so much benefit for the children, and there's also a lot of schools and a lot of teachers experiencing it by now.
You know, we were just talking about that, Judith, Levy, and I, that how there's maybe not even this is the best time for the chess world. It almost feels like a golden period for chess, for the sport, for chess fans, for chess creators, for chess players. We've got these amazing events like the Global Chess Festival, these different formats coming in, so much excitement, so many incredible events, whether it's all the chess we're coming part of, esports, freestyle chess. You've got the World Championship next year, so much excitement around the candidate cycle. You've got India versus USA. Today we had this big celebration in Hungary at the iconic Hungarian Gallery. But there was another big global event that started today, Judith, which was Levy versus the rest of the world, with Levy playing against close to 130,000 people from across the world. And that's going to go on for a while. Judith, the opening of choice by Levy playing with the black pieces was the Caro-Kann. Saivamani for c6. What do you make of that? Do you think Levy chose wisely? And what would be your advice? Well, not to Levy, but the rest of the world playing against Levy.
Pay attention, focus, and don't blunder. That's the most important. Don't blunder if you want to win against Levy.
It's good advice for me too, by the way. But yeah, no, I have been threatened with a lot of things. The world is very, very confident that they're going to win this match. I don't know why they're so confident. Like, I feel like the average rating of a person playing is like 800, so that can only mean one thing, and it doesn't mean something good. But I'm going to try my best. I'm going to play the opening I know the best, and I wonder what Judith's score against the Caro-Kann is. It's probably like 90% win with white. I mean, it's like, it's probably very bad for the Caro-Kann.
Well, I don't know exactly what was my score against this. For a long time, I was playing the Panov, exchanging on d5 and playing c4. But for that, you have to be very sharp to play the isolated pawn. So later on, I started to switch to 3 knight c3, knight d2. I had many games against Karpov, and it's a very tough opening to break. Very tough opening. That's for sure. But to be honest, I'm very happy, Levy, that you're taking this challenge on the world, and it took off today, on the day of the 11th Global Chess Festival. So I think it's a great thing. When I saw it that it's going on, it's not the first occasion. I thought this is how it should be all year round. When this game finishes, someone else should be. So chess should be in the circulation all the time.
It was awesome, and we had the first move made right here on the live broadcast for the Global Chess Festival. So it was an exciting moment with Levy's choice and with Judith approving of the Caro-Kann. I think Caro-Kann fans can rejoice across the world. And Judith finally just zooming out of everything that's happened today, this incredible day in Budapest. I know firsthand how much this festival means to you, and how much effort and work you and your team put into it, and just how thousands of people, local people, come and enjoy so many activities throughout the day. Every year, the festival gets bigger, it gets more creative. And I think my last question to you is that what is the one idea that you're dreaming about already for next year's Judith Polgar'S Global Chess Festival?
I don't know. That's a good question. I like to do creative things, and this year these things, the invisible chess and the Rubik chess worked very well. So probably I would like to polish that even more to be more attractive, and maybe some new idea comes to mind. But definitely, I would like to make the community Simul grow and make it something that people can wait for internationally. Because here in Hungary, the festival itself has such a prestige name and event that many people are waiting it already. So it would be great if it would be an online event also at the same time, that people can count on that this is a fun event to be together.
Amazing. Well, we've got one more idea to throw out there. Judith, Levy, and I would love to be in Budapest for next year's event. We discussed it, so putting it out there into the ether, Levy.
Absolutely. I would love to have you guys here live, and then not only commentating but having some fun games together here. I will create a special game for that if you guys. Looking forward to that.
All right. Well, it's Levy, been amazing. Judith, been such an awesome day of chess, hanging out with our community, analyzing the games, watching Judith in her element. To her score, sticking to her style. Beautiful stuff on the board. Levy, thank you so much. Judith, you are an absolute superstar, and we all love you so much, and everything that you continue to do for chess just means everything. I personally so inspired by all that you do. Chat, it's a wrap up from us. It's a goodbye from us as we wrap things up in Budapest at the Hungarian National Gallery. Another year of the Judith Polgar'S Global Chess Festival comes to an end. But of course, the chess action doesn't stop on Chess.com. It's Gotham Chess versus the rest of the world, India versus USA coming up. So much action, Title Tuesday every week. But right now, it's all about celebrating the game. It's been an awesome day of chess. We've had so much fun, and we'll see you next year with Judith Polgar'S Global Chess Festival. It's a sign off from us.